Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back. We've got somebody today that gives a lot of perspective. Love talking with her. Now, by trade, she essentially is an accountant, bookkeeper. She works with a lot of small businesses, service industries, construction, warehousing. She works with anybody, but by and large, that's a big part of what she does and has done. But she also provides insight into the way we think and the way we transact business. Today, we're going to look at leadership in general and kind of laser in from there. Her company, and the name just fits her like so perfectly, Equilibrium Consultants. And she's Kat Scardaville, and she's back with us. How you doing today?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. This whole leadership thing, when you really think about it, everybody is a leader. You're leading yourself, whether you realize it or not. You may be leading your family. There's a lot going on when it comes to leadership, and most of us don't really have any training, know what we're doing.
Yeah, right? For sure. No, for sure. It's like I don't know, if you have kids, right, and you take them to pre-K or kindergarten for the first time, and you just kind of walk them in and just kind of plop them right there. Okay, bye, peace out, and then pray that their first day of school is okay, and pray that they, that they're like, usually you're the one freaking out, and they're just like, oh, this is cool, colors everywhere, so hopefully they don't get into like little spats with the other children, and they play nice with the boys and girls, and hopefully you did your job to make them behave and play nice with the boys and girls. So that's kind of how I akin to that, you know what I mean? As far as molding the team rather into that. Not to say that I'm maternal, because they're all adults, and they're responsible for their behavior, and they're responsible for their decisions. But, in the end, we have to play nice with each other and play nice with the other boys and girls. Otherwise, this ain't going to work.
I completely agree with you. And it's even in, today's world, you got to find a way to play nice. You might not always agree with somebody. By the way, when it comes to kindergarten, all I remember was this. It was me holding onto my mother's leg. I had separation anxiety. I remember it well, too. I really, really do. Terryville Road Elementary School. And, that went on for a while. But, to your point, you deal with people on a daily basis. What are your, and it's almost weird to say this, leadership skills? How would you define how you lead yourself? Maybe you got a team, small team, big team. What would those, if you had to write down 3 things in terms of your leadership qualities, what do you think they would be?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So, the answer to that is a little long-winded. What's fun about that? Well, the first thing is you as the leader, or in this case, me, has to set the example. And way back in the day, and I don't think we ever talked about this, was I used to teach self-defense classes.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was learning how to do that, I had to be the best student in the room, so I could learn how to be the leader with all these dangerous movements going on, because you're learning how to defend yourself and run away, or something to that effect. So you set the example by being the best student. And I always say student because you're never going to know everything. So you're always learning, you're always growing, and you're going to get something wrong. And having that humility and recognizing that, hey man, at some point you are going to make a mistake, and accepting that you're going to make that mistake. If you have a good crew and you've been really open and honest with them, and you've been with them in the trenches with them, boots on the ground style, and they understand and feel that connection, you're going to have a really tight team. It works for the military, it's going to work for you. It works in martial arts, it's going to work for you. It works in bands, it's going to work for you, right? So not for nothing, if you are the best student in the room, people will follow suit for that. So being the best student, in my opinion, is probably the best thing, like, ever. And then the secondary thingy is, like, there's books upon books upon books written about the types of leadership qualities the best leaders in the universe have, right? Like He-Man style. But um, one of one of the most successful ones, in my opinion, happens to be like contingency leadership, and it's a theory. So contingency leadership theory, it's effective leadership that it depends on the leader's style, the team's characteristics and their traits, and the situation. So it's very sports oriented. So if the situation is if the situation is one way, we adapt and we change and we evolve to accommodate with the needs of that situation, and so on and so forth. So it's not that we have to change ourselves. We're just learning what that situation needs and then evolve from there. It's got nothing to do with, no, you have to be this person now. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with how do we make this better? And then in the long run, you become better too, and you learn a different skill set in the process. There's nothing wrong with that. And then probably the third one is, I mean, this is, I don't know if this is like a good thing, but I think it brings out the best in people. And it's called great events theory. And it happens in crisis, and it happens in like really bad situations, the worst case scenario type stuff. So in worst case scenario type stuff, the shyest person in the room could potentially be the strongest leader ever. I mean, when we look at major events in the world that are just potentially life-changing for a group of people, it's you see some very interesting and extraordinary human beings do some pretty astounding stuff. And they were very like timid before, and then suddenly they were confronted with something really beyond their control, and they were tested, and that was what they needed to recognize their potential.
Wow. You know what it reminds me of? The classic movie, baseball team, could be a kid's team, maybe even professionally, where everybody has been at bat. Maybe there's some injuries. And then there's that one individual sitting on the bench that never get called in, but they're more than capable, but they just don't look like they are. And to your point, once the coach throws them in, they're a superstar. They're diamond in the rough, if you will. They're just ready to go, but never got the opportunity because looks or the reality the perception turns out to be the reality. Somebody perceiving them to be, he's not really a strong hitter, and all of that. Would you say, because I'm processing this and applying it to things I know, people I know. I'm more of a team player, and I know it's a cliche, but I don't have to score the goal. I like to just work with others in that way. And I know it's like, hey, that's a great thing to say about yourself because it just sounds good, but it's truth. I can't get around it. It really is. I don't need to have the spotlight. Yeah, it's cool sometimes, but it's also about doing it together. And I've always been that way. How do you feel about yourself?
Like, in my case, like, well, first of all, I think that's a beautiful way just to live every day. It's like, I don't need all this stuff because it demonstrates a good amount of humility. So good on you.
Wham wire.
I think that's great. In my case, we had a really different upbringing, and I grew up in a family business. So, our expectations were uncharacteristically higher than most people, if you're catching what I'm throwing. So we had to meet certain obligations that didn't really make any sense. Somehow we met them. sometimes, but it definitely questioned you were programmed to question yourself over and over and over again, and it that made me question my leadership capabilities only because you're used to doing things one way and questioning whether or not it's the right way when there is no right or wrong way. It's your way. And did it work? Okay. Did people get hurt? No. Okay, that's good. Did we get to the solution? Awesome. Did you help people in the process? Okay, good. Did we make any friends along the way? Awesome. Okay. And in my case, that's what I want. You know, I want to evolve and have some resources in the meantime, and make some cool pals along the way. So as far as like the leadership qualities are concerned, I learned growing up in a family business that I will always say thank you, and I will always be grateful, and I will always say to the people who I work with, even though I pay them, I say that I work with them, even though they know that I'm the boss, and I let them know that I'm the boss, but I also let them know that, look, you need something, I'm here. It's okay, because I want to be approachable, but I also don't want to be taken advantage of, and they know that, because when they see the wall over, especially on this side, they're just like, well, okay, and so I don't really have to say much. I just want them to feel comfortable and feel okay and feel like they can get work done, but also feel like they're a part of something bigger, because we got goals, man. We got plans. We got things we want to do, and I'm excited for them. And thankfully they're into it also. And I'm grateful. I'm just grateful that I got a lovely, wonderful team. Seriously.
There's lots of thoughts swirling in my head about that. First off, many leaders will say that it's an open door policy. Come in, we can talk about anything, but many aren't genuine about that. And I've encountered those. And even in one position, one company that I worked for, I now work with them.
Nice.
Actually, I'm the client. But
awesome.
In this one role, general manager's role, I've seen 3 different people in that role. And the first one was just that. Would say, open door policy, you could talk about anything. Nobody ever wanted to go into his office. Everybody was intimidated. You were just like, oh, he wants me to meet with him at 2:00 today. I don't even know what this is going to be like. You had anxiety over it because he wasn't real. And it was all about himself. He leaves, somebody else in that role, better, but still had that, uncomfortable edge. And it's just as everybody else would say it. And then in the role now is somebody who you feel is fully transparent, who asks tons of questions. He'll admit, I don't know the answer. Tell me more. And you feel like it's like a friend, but it's also the leader, just a very different way of doing things. But I share that because many times we don't know what others are thinking about us in those capacities. And we may think that I'm the best. People love me. I'm approachable. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
Might not be the actual case,
Yeah, I had a dinner with my daughter yesterday, my oldest one, and we have Sunday sauce every Sunday. And I have that exact thing with my children, that exact dynamic with my children, to such a degree that maybe they tell me too much. I don't know. Maybe like there are certain things where I'm like, dude, I don't need to know that. Like for real. I don't know. But hey, thank you for telling me. And then sometimes they're too direct. And it's like, Mom, you're being this, that, and the other thing. So my parents would be like, you don't talk to your mother that way. And I kind of perceive it like, wait a second. This is okay. Maybe they could have like brought it down a bit, but at the same time, I'm grateful that they had the nerve or the wherewithal or the whatever to voice their frustration out like that. I need to know. I need to know in order to make the place better. Okay. And then when they're finished, I have to tell them, okay, hold on. First off, change the tone a little bit. Thank you. Second, here's what I understand. And then I tell them what I understand. Does that sound right? Okay, so here's what I propose we do to fix it. All right, cool. And then we start to divvy out what the possible solutions are, because they could agree, but at the same time they're also children. Now but eventually we get there, but as far as professionals are concerned, most of the time they don't freak out and yell at you, but that does happen. That does happen for sure. And I'm no different, but I don't think any of us are. But at the same time, something within that environment caused us to do that. Something within that environment probably made us like feel so uncomfortable and so resentful and so I don't know, man, just angry,
Bitter.
And thank you. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. So if I feel, and this is what I learned a long time ago, if I feel that horrible to the point where I'm losing sleep and I'm losing time for myself and I'm losing time with my family and I'm losing all of these assets. In accounting, we have a time value and a money value, and they both have equal value. There is no amount of money worth that kind of time. And there's no amount of time that could, there's no amount of money that could make up that amount of time,
Isn't it interesting that the parallel between being a parent and being a leader, let's say at a company, that you have to have respect. There has to be an air of some authority, but you also want to be their friend. And as a parent, delicate balance,
Yes.
There's some parents that are just friends and the parent's like a pushover to the kids depending on the age. But it's the same way where you want to be friendly with people within the work environment, but you also want to have the other things there. I see them both very similar, like a very delicate balance. And back to something you said before in terms of change, like, coming from a family business, that's what you did. These, were the boundaries almost pigeonholed into this is what you were doing until it changed. And isn't it funny that they say every 5 years we reevaluate our lives? What am I doing? Even in relationships, what am I doing here? Is this working? You might not consciously think it out, but it's on your radar. They say it's the sweet spot's about every 5 years, and they say the 7-year itch, which we've heard in relationships, is a real thing because it takes you 2 years to react. Whether you're going to stay in the relationship, whether you're going to improve it, whether you're going to bail on it, that's where the 7 years come in. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've traced back my relationships every 7 years or close to it. There was a pinnacle part going on. Coincidence? Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know. But do you feel that way? Maybe every 5 years? Like, are you the same person you were 5 years ago?
Hell no.
Right?
No, man.
Same.
No.
Same.
Hell no. For real. No.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. In a good way. Like 5 years ago, I left the family business.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No. I mean, if I stayed in the family business, I would be completely different. Yeah. I would be completely different.
And it's not to say that it wasn't good or right, but maybe it didn't fully serve and support you at the time.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's probably the most diplomatic way of putting it. Absolutely. Because in my case, it was time to go, but that was where I learned that there was no amount of money that could give me my time back, and there was no amount of time that can corroborate the money that I'm earning. There's the value wasn't there, and the anxiety wasn't worth it.
Well, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whatever the relationship is, somebody said to me 4 years ago, and I didn't even know how to react to it, but she said, a very close friend, I've known her since I was 17.
Nice.
She said, those people don't serve you anymore. And I was like, what? It sounded like, you're the king or the queen on the hill. Be gone with you. But she was right. Life changed, and they aren't the same in my life. I'm not the same in their life. So it's time, to move on. I guess it's like they say, too. People are in your life for a season or a reason. When you start thinking about it, I find it's true. I really do.
Yeah. No, for real. I totally agree. Completely. And I like to think of it as lessons that you learn. They're in there to teach you something. And then the lesson is over and they're gone. And then you gotta keep going. You know?
Yeah, it's so true. And if you didn't learn the lesson, somebody else is going to show up and teach you the lesson, whether you want to be a willing student or not. The universe wants you to know this. You need to learn this to move your life forward and support other people and the universe's plan. You're going to learn no matter what. So you may as well, class in session, get it over with and move on.
Seriously. And that's such a hard thing to admit, isn't it? Like when class is in sessions, like you got to show up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You got to show up to class. And this takes a lot of guts to do that. And it's not easy.
It's like high school, any grade you fail, guess what? You got to take it over again, which is not the most pleasant thing, I guess. It's amazing what you do. You run deeper. Yeah, there's lots of bookkeepers out there. There's a lot of accountants, people that do financial work, but you look at it from a completely different angle, and it's very refreshing.
Oh, thanks, Dan.
Very refreshing. How do we engage you? Not for therapy, but for just moving our companies forward. Somebody needs accounting services, bookkeeping services. What's the best way?
Yeah. So we just we are launching our new website. So that one is eqconsultants.com. Let me rephrase. eqconsultantsnj.com. You can reach me at the cell phone 848-565-0113, and our email address is info@eqconsultantsnj.com.
Cool. And your website is informative and great now, but you have the new one launching. When is that?
It is going to launch today's Wednesday.
Gotcha. Always great talking with you.
It's pretty. It's so pretty. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Sorry.
I can feel the pride. I really can.
That's awesome.
Great talking with you. Thanks for the insight. And it's like it seems like we're cut from the same cloth.
Wonderful.
That's the vibe I get. Great having you on. We'll talk soon, okay?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.